Hi guys, it's Duke Doom here, and I don't need them as usual. Today's video is gonna be a little bit different in a way. It's going to be about living with anxiety and panic attacks, but most of all it's going to be living with hypochondria, which I do. And I know a lot of people out there do the same. And people often make fun of us because we are always anxious about having a strange disease or, afraid of dying or something like that. So I thought I would address this in a kind of like a rant video. And I hope that my dogs won't be a nuisance because they heard cats, so I might have to cut this together if they start to bark, but I hope not. Anyway, I am going to open myself up a little bit. I have done it in previous videos, but I want to do it again because I know there are many people out there who live with the same condition as I do, and I want you to just know that you are not alone, and you can learn to cope or live. Oh, birds, it's springtime. You can cope with it and live with it to a certain degree. Now, I have been in therapy and I have been with psychiatrists, but they haven't been able to help me. And I don't feel comfortable sitting and talking to a stranger, not like I'm doing right now, because this is of my own free will. And this is basically because I want to make other people understand and don't feel as bad as I have done. I will just leave it with telling you, I will just start by telling you a little bit. My first real panic attack was when I think I was 16 or 17 years old, and I grew up with my grandparents and they have just died, so I was alone in their house, which I inherited, and all of a sudden it felt like I was drunk. The walls and the floor are starting to, like on a boat with big waves. And I didn't understand what was happening, and I started to sweat, and my heart started to pound in my chest like it was going to burst. So I just sat down and, clinched to the wall, and then it suddenly just stopped. So I thought, it must have been some kind of, I don't know, the beginning of a cold or something, I don't really know. Then I got small attacks during the years to come, but when I was about 20, I think, I had been partying a little bit. And I woke up in the morning. I had a friend who had slept over, and all of a sudden when I was going to the bathroom, I just fell down, I had it hurt, my chest burned, and it was like electricity in my whole head, and everything turned dim. And I must say this, I checked this afterward, I didn't have a heart problem. And I kind of dragged myself to bed and screamed, I'm dying, I'm dying, I'm dying. At the same time, my mom called. This was on the mainland and she was on the island. And I told her what happened, and she said, try to breathe, because this is a panic attack. I can swear it's a panic attack. So I tried to breathe and try to my friend at the time, he kind of like forced me to play Tekken, and it went away. So after that I went to the doctors and they checked my heart and stuff, and there were no problems. So I was diagnosed with panic attacks, anxiety, and agoraphobia, because it happened when I went out in the town, the city. and it often had different ways of showing itself. Like some days when I was just walking with my then girlfriend, all of a sudden I can only see like straight ahead, like a tunnel vision, and it was blurry, and I thought I was going blind and had an even bigger panic attack. So yeah, and I now eat kind of like a medication which damps down the panic, but I still, when I get very upset, have a tick in my left side which is like cramps, and I forget to breathe and just concentrate on those damn ticks. So yeah, and I also grind my teeth very badly, which is a problem since I get puke feelings if I trying to put in a mouth guard, kind of like a bite protection during the night. Well, that was my story about my panic. Now, the number 2 subject that I want to discuss in this video is living with hypochondria. I'm not sure when it surfaced. I think it surfaced when my grandmother died of stomach cancer, but I'm not really sure. I always have been anxious about being sick, but lately, the last 10 or so years, it's have grown out of proportions, and I have had all the sicknesses in the book. I have had AIDS, I have had cancer, I have had goddamn malaria. I think I had skin cancer, lung cancer, brain cancer, stroke, and as people know who doesn't have hypochondria, of course I haven't had those diseases, but I thought I've had them. And right now I'm having a problem. I was bitten by a tick, which is a little, for those who doesn't know, is a little insect that sucks blood and it grows. I had one on my back, and I hadn't had my vaccination shot, which we're supposed to take every year. I'm going to take it, I think, this Monday. But you have to check those bite marks, because if it's a big red circular ring around it, it means that you have gotten, I think it is Borrelia, or TBE, I don't know. And I have a problem checking my own back, but my mom lives neighbors with me, and I have asked her to check it, and she says it's looking fine. But still, I'm confused, because I was partying very hard last weekend from Thursday to Sunday, and I still feel a bit weak, and of course I connect that with the tick mark. So yeah, and people always make fun of me and telling me like, are you dying again? But it is a nightmare to live with. It is a nightmare. You check, and at the same time you are afraid to check your own body, because if there is something, you will panic. Like, I bought a stethoscope for my doctor role plays, but I don't dare use it to listen to my own heart, because if it sounds a bit strange, have a double beat or something just once, I will get such a panic attack they will probably have to get me to the mainland by helicopter. So please don't make a fool of people with hypochondria, because it's a really, really troublesome illness, and it is an illness. And I'm often afraid that I would get a stroke, because I have a bit high cholesterol, and I have pills for it, so I think it's okay now. I haven't checked it lately, but I think it is. But I always am afraid, and as soon as I get a feeling of numbness anywhere on the body, I'm like, oh shit, I'm having a stroke. And that itself makes me even more anxious about going around thinking about those things. So if you're having hypochondria, don't let people talk you down into saying it's a shitty disease or a silly thing, because it's a nightmare. I wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy. And another thing that you need to know is that you are perfect the way you are. It took me a long time, and I have lived with, self-loathing, self-hate, because I'm not like all the others. I cannot have a job. I cannot work with, the guys who measure hammers with each other or stands in a store, because I will have panic attacks. I will feel sick. I will not be able to go up in the morning. I will probably catch some imaginary illness. But a positive side, which I also want to say, look at me. I'm deadly afraid of walking in big masses of people. I am very hesitant to go out in public areas. But look at me. I'm doing videos on YouTube to help other people realize that you can live even if you're not like everyone else. And I have, on a year, I have reached 1,300 subscribers, which means I think I'm doing this okay. I also have a pretty bad confidence, but it's getting better, and it's thanks to you guys who give all the nice comments, subscribes and everything. So you're not a loser because you have a mental illness or it sounds bad when you say mental illness, because it's a heritage from the old days when mental illnesses automatically made you like a fruitcake or a madman and had to be hospitalized and shocked and put in icy baths. But of course it's not. It's just like any other disease. It's just that it's harder to pinpoint that for people. If you have a tumor or a broken leg, you can always point at it and say, look, this is what's wrong. But when you have a mental illness or a well, you know what I mean. It's harder to say, look at this is what's wrong, because it doesn't show the same way. And if you get a panic attack, some people have told me, get a grip of yourself, but it ain't that easy, I'm afraid. It really isn't that easy, and it's the worst thing that you can say to someone with anxiety or mental illnesses is to get a grip on yourself. Or as someone told me, get a haircut and get a job, boy, kind of, which is just ignorant and stupid. I wanted to make this video, as I said, to make you feel that you aren't worthless. You are a perfect human being. You're not just perfect, you are amazing. Even if you're not like everyone else. You're sensitive perhaps, or so I'm sensitive. People are sensitive in different ways. It's hard to really describe. I just want you to know that you can live with it, and you're not a bad person for having whatever you have. If it's hypochondria, if it's panic anxiety, if it's one of those letter combination diseases, which HD, I'm not going to pronounce it, or if you have schizophrenia or whatever you have, you're not a bad person. You're just different than anyone else, and that's perfectly alright. I don't believe in God, but I believe that something is behind it, and that power made you a little bit different than all the others. And when you look at it, how many people are healthy these days? Really, look at it. You're not maybe so different after all. We all have our problems, big or small. So I'm going to finish this little rant video by saying we need more love in this world, and we need to accept each other for who we are, and not just for what we're expected to be. As always, there can't be a light without any darkness. You just have to find that little glimmer. I love you guys, and I hope you have a wonderful evening, day or night, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.